The following podcast contains spoilers.
This is the Bunzarelli Show.
Boba Fett, Chapter 6. My name is Joe. Of course, I got Bob with me. Bob, big show. First reappearance of Dave Filoni back in the Star Wars TV world. And he brought all his friends with him. He brought Ahsoka, he brought Luke, he brought all the, apparently half the Star Wars universe. What did you think about this show, Bob?
Oh, yeah, definitely did. And I'm surprised that he was actually the guy that did it because the episode had such a movie feel to it.
Yeah.
You know, like some of the shots, like the cinematography were just crazy looking. Like, and it just had such a nice look and such a high budget look. Even compared to itself, you know what I mean? Even compared to previous episodes, it just had such a big movie look to it.
Yeah.
And, oh my God, yeah, enjoyed it so much. Did not expect any of it, and I'm embarrassed. Last week you called it, and I was like, no, we're not gonna see Luke again. They have no need to show him again.
Yeah.
I think you win. You were right.
Well, yeah. I don't know. Now I have different theories about the finale, how he's going to play in. Right off the bat, first surprise, because I wasn't even I had totally washed my hands of the Cobb Vanth thing. I was like, okay, we're gonna just assume nope, Cobb Vanth's here. First thing I see, Timothy Olyphant, and I'm like, whoa, that was enough to get me excited. I was like, all right, he's back. And he's
you had just given up. You were looking for that storyline to sort of wrap itself. And I think he said last week. I think he said, "Oh, you know what? Okay, maybe that's just it. He just got the suit. We're not going to know why."
Yeah, he just knew the dude. All he needed was the dude's name. He's not going to kill the dude over armor he doesn't have. So that was enough. They have him showing down, do his little showdown with the Pikes, and he's still just running the town, acting a part. And then we go to freaking back to Mando in his Naboo starfighter. And he goes to go see Grogu. And then you see R2. Because I'm thinking like maybe he's going to look, and you see R2, Luke's near there.
Yeah, and I did not expect, even then, I did not expect Luke to show up. Even when he's seen R2-D2. I'm like, oh, cool, R2-D2. Well, now what's going to happen?
Yeah, you're thinking to somebody, oh, he just missed him. Or something like that. Yeah,
something like that. Or he's on this planet, or fight this guy and he'll tell you.
Yeah.
Something like that. But then it wasn't we seeing Luke. It was a Luke episode.
Yeah.
And it was crazy. My whole thing with thinking that we're not going to see him is because it's how expensive it is to pull it off.
Yeah.
And how difficult it is. And we've seen I always go back to Superman, but we've seen Superman when they just CGI'd his mustache, how it just destroyed that movie because it looked so weird. But I didn't feel like I was taken out of it with the special effects at all.
No.
Like there were some points where I was like, okay, it's a little weird looking, but nothing like, I don't think if I would have not known that they did it, I would have known that something was going on in terms of CGI, and that's not really him on the screen that we're looking at, But the fact that it followed him was more like a sequel to the Star Wars movies than it was like an episode.
And here's the thing, because I think when they first introduced him in The Mandalorian, like the season finale, we were all like, hooray, like we see Luke, and that's enough. And they gave him so little, and they were just so careful about selling us Luke. So now they already did. So now he's just, the whole show, he's a character. And they did
he's a character.
They improved the CGI. I looked it up, what was in the credits too. Mark Hamill's still involved.
Yeah, and he's doing the scenes that they did in the movies too, basically, because like the whole thing with the jumping through the woods and putting it on the backpack. Well, what a great, I tell you, it was like a tribute to it.
Yes.
It reminded me a bit
with Yoda in the backpack.
Yeah, it was definitely like a tribute to it, but it was also, how we always say like, I wonder what it's like for kids that didn't see the original movies.
Yeah.
We're at the point now, the original movies are so long ago that I think we're the rare people. I think more kids seeing or people watching the show might not have seen it. So they needed to learn this whole Force thing. So to redo the scenes, maybe it had the same, to us it just, is nostalgic, but maybe for them it's like, okay, it taught them the whole Force thing the same way it taught us. it got them up to speed. So
Yes.
now our TV people are caught up with the movie people in terms of Luke and Yoda's, or Grogu's in this case, apprentice thing relationship they got going. That's a theme in all the movies.
Yeah.
And just the Force in general, because we've seen it a little bit in the show, but I don't think that we've seen a whole lot of Force.
No, we saw it more. We saw more of it in The Mandalorian. Sometimes when Grogu would just kind of whip it out and lift something or lift a creature or a rock. Because Grogu, I think Grogu and Yoda's
Grogu a little bit, and the girl that was at the
Ahsoka.
That was at the yeah. The two of them were the only ones I think that we've seen it from.
Now here's the Ahsoka thing, and they were very good about it because so they make it approachable, and if you know more, it means more. So Ahsoka from the cartoons is Anakin Skywalker's apprentice. And there's a whole rich backstory about their relationship and things like that. But the cool thing is they don't get too deep where you get lost. It's just like, I knew your father. So as a newcomer, you're like, okay.
That was interesting. Yeah.
That's good enough for me. But for me, watching it, so the line she said to Luke, like sometimes the student becomes a teacher. Anakin said that to her. So to me, it meant that much more. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I heard him say that to her. But all she said was, so much like your father. So for me, watching it, it's like I just assume watching it, they've had the conversation and filled each other in. But as a newcomer to watch the episode and watch her fill him in, that's going to bore somebody. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I tell you right now, because I didn't see the shows that she was in before. I only know the movies and these two Disney shows.
Yeah.
So for me, I just knew when she said it that, okay, cool, Joe's going to tell me.
I'm going to fill it in.
Joe will fill that in for me. But if it even not for you, I would have just said like, oh, it piqued my interest though. Like, okay, who's, the father and how is she with him?
Yeah. Which is cool because that's why I like you being a casual fan, because it's like I get to gauge you, because like I wanted to fill you in on Cad Bane. And I was like, no, you know what? Bob's so excited about Cad Bane. I'm just going to roll with it. I'm not going to send him any YouTube videos or nothing. We'll get there.
That has to be the guy at the end.
Yeah,
that has to be the guy at the end. Right?
We'll get there. But just the fact that you were blown away not knowing who he was just shows you what it is. But here is something I looked up, though. The temple they were putting together, that the robots were putting together. I'm like, I went and looked it up, and I went and looked at Last Jedi, the scene where Luke takes a flashback. That is Luke's temple that Kylo Ren destroyed with the Knights of Ren.
I figured.
Yeah, in the new movies. That is the temple. It looks exactly the same.
Oh, speaking of Kylo Ren, before I forget, the flashback that Grogu had, that was the girl from Kylo Ren's movies, right?
No.
Didn't make sense time-wise.
No, that's Clone Wars.
Okay.
That's Clone Wars. That's when Anakin does his march on the temple. When the temple's like, go to the Jedi temple, kill all the Jedi. And Anakin kills, like, the Master Skywalker. What should we do? That scene?
Yeah.
That's what that is.
Yeah.
Those were clone troopers. Like, that was straight up. That was the start. Gotcha. So Grogu was in the temple. And Ahsoka had mentioned it in The Mandalorian. She's like, yeah, somebody rescued him from the temple, which is still the big mystery. How did Grogu get out of the temple? But
who's that character that they showed? I thought it was a girl.
No, it was just some random Jedis. You're talking about the temple flashback?
Yeah, the temple flashback. I thought it was going to end up being someone from a movie.
No, there's been like speculation that sounds very cool. Like Mace Windu, how he got thrown out of the window and his hand got chopped off. And it's like, well, we've seen Jedi get their hands cut off and thrown out of windows. So he very well could have survived that. I mean, Boba Fett survived getting eaten by the Sarlacc pit. But there's like, what if they like very easily could do it, is just have Mace Windu be the guy that like saved Grogu. Maybe before he died or something. But it could be anybody. It's like a big mystery to solve. Like some Jedi got him out.
Solo. Who knows?
No, it's
Han Solo. We could see he's still alive. Harrison Ford.
Oh no,
where's he at?
I feel like he's going to come in just because of his tie-in with Boba, because they've already.
Oh yeah, that's right. I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, his history with Boba, because Luke could very easily be like, "Let's take a ride," and because if we could. Well, yeah, I want to go to the end, but I jump all over the place.
Yeah, and anyone's watching it has seen it. It's not we're not.
Yeah, it's not like we go back and go forward. Okay, so here's my thing about so where they got to with the end, and we'll cover the other parts. But where they got to was like Luke offers Grogu the choice. Okay.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah. So there's a couple theories
I'll let
behind
you
that.
go first on that one.
Okay, so if Grogu says, "Bring me back to the Mandalorian," well, Luke's gonna bring him back, and now
Yes.
I thought this would happen, but now it's like really like Tatooine is becoming taken over by these Pikes. Okay, so does Luke just say, "Hey Han, could you give me a ride to Tatooine or something?" You know what I mean? And Han Solo shows up there, or Luke gets there, sees the situation, calls for more backup, and Han shows up just to have a little. Some kind of conversation with Boba Fett, some kind of interaction, like
Yeah, you know what? You know why I agree with you that happens. I won't get you too far off track.
yeah.
But we seen Luke, and we still got 2 more episodes.
No,
something
next
bigger
one's
has to
next
happen.
one's the last one.
Oh, that hurts. Okay, so the next one's the last one.
Yeah,
The next one's the last one. They went so big on the second to last one that they got to go bigger. And the show's called Book of Boba Fett or Book
Yeah.
of Boba, whichever it is. And so, yeah, what a better ending than to bring those two back together. Now you bring back Solo.
yeah,
You don't do the flashback with Harrison Ford because you got the act. Well, where's the age difference there? But you got 2 different actors to choose from that played Han Solo. So it seems silly to dub Harrison Ford. You got to go with the kid.
no, because it's Mark Hamill. Mark Hamill's after Return of the Jedi. Return of the Jedi is Han Solo, Harrison Ford. So it would be Harrison Ford.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, it would be young Harrison Ford. Harrison Ford wasn't involved in the Clone Wars stuff, but yes, it would be. They'll do it. And Harrison Ford will do anything for a paycheck. He don't give a. He's like, oh yeah, they told me.
They could do it for Luke as well as they did it for Luke.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, why would they not?
Oh
For
no,
sure, and they
they will
gotta
do it. The twist is how do they bring Harrison Ford in and cram it into one episode? But if you looked at what they did in this episode, because nothing seemed crammed in this episode, that was the crazy
For
part.
sure.
The amount of stuff they did in this episode, that was like. But I will tell you one thing, because people are like, oh, Boba Fett, no Boba Fett last week. We got plenty of Boba Fett in the first 5. I guarantee he's coming back swinging. And the big part of it is 2 things. There are 2 things about it. So they hit the sanctuary. So that was a direct assault on Boba Fett's territory. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
that was an attack on Boba Fett. The other thing is the whole thing about Cad Bane. Let me hear about you thought about Cad Bane, and I'll get into Cad Bane.
Oh, that is my favorite character, and that scene was done so well. When I said the cinematography, when they show him off in the distance,
Yeah.
and right, that shot was so good. And you're like,
Yeah.
God, who's this guy? And then they show him, you're like, holy crap, who's this guy? I got nothing on who he is
Yeah.
at all. All I know is he seems very upset and very annoyed
Yeah.
by everybody. But he just looks like a fun guy.
So my thing with the whole thing with Cad Bane is, so Cad Bane has been in the Clone Wars cartoon, he's been in Rebels, and he's been in Bad Batch. Like he was, what I think his deal was they wanted a badass bounty hunter, but they didn't want to dip, they weren't ready to dip too much into Boba Fett. So they're like, let's have another character. Because Clone Wars made all these cool characters like Ahsoka, Cad Bane, a bunch
I
of
should
cool ones.
watch that cartoon.
Oh no, it's okay.
I love
I'll send you.
cartoons too. Why not? You know what? I tried to watch it after we did I think the first episode of this, or
Oh, I'll
something
send you
else.
clips after this. Don't worry. I'll send
Yeah,
you. I'll send you what you need to know.
Yeah, I tried to watch the first one, and I guess it's sort of dated now with the cartoon technology.
Oh yeah, Clone Wars. If you
Now
start in
versus
season
then.
1, it's like Toy Story 1 versus Toy Story 3. Toy Story 1
Yeah, I
looks
should
like it
just
was
skip
made by
ahead a little bit.
Yeah, Toy Story 1 looks like it was made by like a college project. You know what I mean? And then
Yeah,
Toy Story 3 is like watching like The Matrix. The whole thing with Cad Bane was Cad Bane has been established as like the antithesis to Boba. Like he's another Boba Fett. He's another. And actually, here's a funny thing: in Rebels or no, Bad Batch, they got the actress that plays Fennec Shand voiced Fennec Shand, and it was like a younger Fennec Shand, and she went up against Cad Bane, but to have Cad Bane, here's the thing. To have Cad Bane has always been established as like he's taking down a lot of people. He's the badass bounty hunter. So for him to go up against Boba Fett is like the big deal. It's like who's the best of the best. So this is where I think Boba Fett takes the crown. The next episode is going to be Boba Fett just straight up gunning for everybody. And the other stuff, it didn't involve Boba Fett. It's like, whatever. What are we watching this show for? We're watching this show because we want to see cool Star Wars. I think we got plenty of that this episode.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. The show, once you get, the show is Star Wars. Because it was like when we seen Mandalorian, and it's like, okay, it's following him around so much. Like, well, they did say in the end of the last thing, you'll see Mandalorian again in this show. There was a reason for that.
Yeah.
Because they're saying this is basically the story's still going.
Yes.
You know, it's like the Avengers movies. I just watched Shang-Chi the other day, and I'm watching, I'm thinking, I says, well, you know what? All of these movies really are just Avengers movies. Like, if they say Avengers in a movie at all, you could pretty much call it an Avengers movie. Like, they acknowledge their existence.
Yes.
You know, it's just, okay, who's the camera following more in this one versus the other?
You're in this world.
Yeah, they're in this world. So once, okay, it's Mandalorian, or it's Boba, or it's whoever, and then when we've seen these characters, like, oh, they could go really anywhere in this. And going into the episode, and you've told me plenty of times, I should remember as I'm watching it, exactly what time we're in.
Yeah.
I'm watching it, I forget, and then all of a sudden this character, like R2-D2, shows up, and I'm like, oh, it's C-3PO? Oh, and speaking of, was that C-3PO? There was one.
No, that was a random droid. It was a protocol droid. She kind of acted a little neurotic like C-3PO, but no. But
okay.
R2's always been the one that more like rides out with Luke when he's doing different things.
Yeah, it's like his buddy.
C-3PO kind of hangs out with Leia a lot. And he's like, oh no. But
oh no.
Here's the cool thing, like the big thing that's happening is the best part, and Dave Filoni did this with Lucas. So when they had the Clone Wars cartoon, it was the episodes take place between episode 2 and episode 3. So it's just Anakin and Obi-Wan getting into adventures. And what it does is it enriched the prequels because it made you like them more. And it made the fall of Anakin sadder. Like it made Anakin look like a real hero that the actual movies didn't do. And George Lucas did these. Yeah. George Lucas started the Clone Wars, and he worked side by side with Dave Filoni because Dave Filoni was just like this nerd that was so enthralled with Star Wars, and he was George Lucas's understudy. And Dave Filoni, like he just like even Jon Favreau looks to Filoni to make some decisions. Like Dave Filoni knows his Star Wars thing. But the whole point being was the Clone Wars cartoon made the prequels, it justified the prequels. So what I like what they're doing now is they're saying the whole thing with the mastery of Star Wars is you got to take the good with the bad. So whatever you thought about the prequels, hey, here's a Naboo starfighter. Oh, here's a Jedi temple that gets destroyed in the sequels. It's like, well, we got to make what we got with what we got. So we're just going to make, and it makes everything else better. That's the cool part.
Yeah, it's still a storyline that it's still like canon or whatever, those movies, whether you like them or not. It's still the story. And I could see that too, where now I really regret not watching the cartoons earlier because it did that. They screwed Anakin on the prequels because they went from just the whole whiny thing to Darth Vader, and there was just no hero in between to where like you didn't care for him at all. He was just a brat.
Oh no, in the Clone Wars they straight up made him a hero. And the long and short of it is in Star Wars Rebels takes place when the Empire takes over. They brought Ahsoka back and Ahsoka confronts Darth Vader and realizes Anakin. Like, it's some cool
Nice.
stuff. And Dave Filoni was behind all that stuff. So
Very cool.
yeah, and they created Ahsoka. George Lucas and Dave Filoni created Ahsoka, and everybody hated her in the beginning. They're like, what is this? Why does Anakin have a Padawan? And now people flip over Ahsoka. Because they ride it. They don't. The problem with like the sequel trilogy is like audience reception. They didn't like it, and then they freak out and they wipe things out and they change things, and that's kind of like the fall of the sequel trilogy. It was like Return of the Jedi took some risks, and they were like, "Oh, we didn't like this weird stuff you did," so they went like, "Oh, let's just bring J.J. Abrams back and do Force Awakens style again." And it was just like, let's just get out of here. That's how the last what is it? The Rise of Skywalker was like, let's just get out of here good. It just bolted out. But this stuff that they're doing with The Mandalorian and Boba Fett or whoever show it is, they're taking a sweet spot of time that nobody's covered. They got these 30 years, and they're saying this, we're going to set up the future. Like the Emperor's Return that wasn't explained. They're like, no, they got Grogu's blood because he has high midichlorians, and they have a cloning guy that might have something to do with the Emperor coming back. They're going back to the prequels and saying, yep, Grogu was there for the fall of the Jedi Temple, and here's almost a scene from Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. Basically, the storming of the temple. It's like, no, we're going to acknowledge all these things and just make the best of it and embellish it and make it better. So, which is the cool thing.
And it's the best time. It's the best time too, like you said, because it's when Luke's story ended from, or Mark Hamill, the actor as Luke, back then in the 70s and 80s.
Yeah.
So it's the sequel that me and you have been wanting since we were little.
Yes, everybody wanted to see Luke on top of his game.
Storyline.
Yes.
Yeah, because the new Star Wars was awesome to see them all as old people, but it was like, as cool as it was to see them like this. They're not the kids, and they're not doing the flips and doing all this stuff. That it's not those characters anymore. Yeah. Now it's just these characters, 50 years later. But no, to see that storyline. Okay, when they left afterwards and they burned Anakin at the thing, that's where the last movie ended, right? For that trilogy. Yeah. What happened after that? That's what we're seeing now. That's awesome. I never expected that.
No, you're getting Luke in his prime. So the whole thing was, we were like, oh, Luke's coming back. And then Luke was like this bitter guy, and people got disappointed. And even Mark Hamill didn't like the way the script was. But now it's like, no, we get to see Luke, and not ridiculously at his prime, because he was badass at the season finale of Mandalorian, but it's still good to see him doubt himself because he's still fresh into it. So when he goes, I don't know what I'm going to do with him, and he goes, and he gives him the choice. Oh, that's what I wanted to talk about. Here's a prediction for you. So Grogu is mesmerized by the lightsaber. Okay? He has his attachment to the Mandalorian. So there's two things. There's Kylo Ren destroys the temple. So the whole thing is like, did Kylo Ren kill Grogu? That was the big question. Okay? So there's that factor. So I think he's going to choose the armor, and he's going to get back to the Mandalorian. But here's the thing. I think Grogu's going to get the Darksaber. And I have this scene pictured in my head, and he doesn't want it. He doesn't get it. But what happens is somebody's going to defeat the Mandalorian. It might not be in the Book of Boba Fett. Somebody's going to beat up the Mandalorian. Grogu,
the sword.
Grogu's going to, beat up the guy that beat up the Mandalorian and get the Darksaber. So he will win it in combat. And he will be, like, they referred to a guy that was both Mandalorian and Jedi. He'll be that. I think he's going to have the skills to wield that thing. They showed him jumping, and that was Yoda's deal. Yoda was jumping.
Yeah.
So that part was cool. I liked it. You and me joked about like seeing a Muppet jump like that. I was like, hey, you know what? I like this.
Yeah.
This is cool. I can deal with this.
That was cool. Yeah, it was exciting to watch, and it got a big laugh afterwards when he did his little walk off with the cane. That was a good scene.
But he showed himself being powerful before. Like he's lifted like this big giant creature, but he just always is like so defenseless. So yeah, now he's starting to level up. He's got a little Luke training. He knows how to protect himself and react to things. So he could, and who knows what the future is? And they make a show about an older Grogu that's like he's wearing Mandalorian armor and he's a Darksaber. Like, is there a big plan for that? But that's a pretty cool idea.
Yeah, and who knows how he ages? Because maybe like hit, his puberty in a week before the next episode, and all of a sudden he's just talking and walking around like nothing.
Yeah, because
who knows? It might just flip over.
I know Yoda always said 900 years. You read. So Yoda's 900, Grogu's 50. So at some point he's got to at least like be able to talk. You know what I'm saying? However that happens.
Yeah.
We're to make a show that takes place in the future. I don't know if they're going to do all of that in the season finale of Book of Boba Fett. If even Grogu's going to get back with the Mandalorian at the end of the show. But this last show, the Pikes. So the whole thing with the Pikes is like the Hutts, because what is the power of the Hutts is they're enforcers. So the Pikes have Cad Bane, and the Pikes are bombing places. So now you see them as a threat. You know what I'm saying? So there's a big showdown happening next episode. Yeah. I don't know what stories are going to get wrapped up and resolved, or the Luke stuff, but it's everything's rounded out, and I have no doubt in my head Boba Fett's going to come out swinging next episode.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. We answered the questions we needed to answer with him. We learned who he was. We learned why he is what he was. We got a break. We saw the big picture. So now we're all rounded up for the... Oh, the Cobb Vanth thing. I don't think Cobb Vanth died.
Cobb Vanth, the sheriff.
The marshal, yeah. I think because...
No, I don't think he did either. I don't think he did.
Yeah, because Cad Bane made it a point to really like throw like 5 shots in the deputy. And everybody was running up to Cobb Vanth, but the bartender. And so that bartender, and I wanted to write down the character's name, but everybody knows what I'm talking about. But that bartender, he was like, this is city folk problem, right?
Yeah.
But I watched the Cobb Vanth episode a couple weeks ago just to catch up on him and figure out and that bartender was there when Cobb Vanth saved the town. That's his relationship. He knows. So he was there when other people tried to take over the town. So
yeah, I think that was to sell him.
Yes.
Sorry to cut in, but I think I see where you're going.
Yeah.
That was to sell him on how, like he said, oh, I got to sell the town on helping you. I think that, okay, instead of having to have that argument and have that meeting, now it's the bartender seeing what happened. The bartender's just going to make this happen for him.
Yes, exactly.
Going to wake up and they're all going to be sitting there with guns ready to go.
Yeah, they're in. They're in. Like he didn't look like scared. He looked like, he made his decision. He knows what he's going to do. So there's gonna be a big battle next episode, and Boba Fett is. Oh, here's another one I just thought about. Okay, so
you got the animal thing to come. Okay, yeah. Let's see. What are the things that we have left?
Okay,
to deal with.
So Boba Fett said, "I want to learn to ride this thing." So there's that. Yeah. Okay. The armorer said it was predicted that the wielder of the Darksaber would rise up on the Mythosaur. Okay. Is the Rancor the Mythosaur? So is it Boba Fett rises up on the Mythosaur and gets the Darksaber? Or does Boba Fett do his cool scene, but all of a sudden Grogu controls the Mythosaur and gets the Darksaber? That's what I feel like. Why are they focusing on the Darksaber right now? I think somebody's getting the Darksaber. Yeah. I think
they're focusing on the Darksaber, and we're seeing a lot of the Force coming in, and they made sure to catch up any kids that never seen the movies on what the Force is. Yeah. So
why this backstory in the Darksaber
coming to a head?
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like Boba's going to turn on us and Boba's going to go bad.
I think that too.
I feel like.
My question, I have my theory about that. So I'm like, But I don't think at the end of the show, I think it's going to be either Boba or Grogu gets the Darksaber. That's my prediction.
Yeah.
That's a prediction.
Yeah, I like that.
There's the Han Solo thing, if he shows up or not. What do you got?
Grogu gets the Darksaber. Here's what I'm thinking when they do the thing where he offers him the chainmail suit.
Yeah.
He offers Grogu it, and he says, "You know what? You can see like he's trying to do something different. Like, okay, I'll give you a choice.
Yeah.
Whatever." I think it's still going to happen like Anakin, to where missing his mom turned him bad. Maybe Grogu is going to be missing Mando, and he's going to feel like Luke took him away or something.
Yeah.
And Grogu's going to turn.
No.
I mean, that's far off, but it's,
Yeah.
they've done it before.
Yeah. They could.
Imagine a bad Yoda.
Yeah, and they have. You know what? I take that back, because they did show Grogu show some anger sometimes too. So that also is a twist, because that sets up the Mandalorian show if Grogu goes bad. So yes, that is a thing.
Yeah.
The other thing is
Boba kills Mando, Grogu goes nuts.
and I also feel like if Luke comes to drop off Grogu at Tatooine and Luke sees that mess, he's not going to like it. Like, Luke's going to get involved.
Yeah.
Whether Han comes into play or not.
Yeah, they definitely gave them all reason. Everybody who's been in it has reason to come back and to fight these Pikes.
That's another theory. So Cad Bane is working with the Pikes. We don't know how long. Remember my Pike theory with the Sand People? What if it turns out Cad Bane went and wiped out the Sand People? That could happen.
That hasn't been we haven't heard proof.
Yeah.
The Pikes never like owned up to it.
Yeah.
It was all just
No, it was all just like all we saw. The only evidence we saw was a symbol that was painted, and anybody could do. So
yeah, because that's a reason for him to be there.
Yeah.
Because right now he's just some cool guy that came and shot the place up.
And that would make it more personal for Boba.
One thing that I was thinking about it afterwards, like I was saying, how like movie shots they had in it.
Yeah.
I tell you, I think that they're just Hollywood in general is just moving towards these well done shows versus movies.
Yeah.
There's less. I love how they're putting more budget into them, and they're getting better and they're getting better. And I think it's a cooler way of doing it. I like this way of it's like it's 6 hours. So a lot of movies are 3 hours long. You could say this is like 2 or 3 movies. I like this new format better of doing it once a week, half-hour shots, than a movie you got to spend $30 to take the kids to and do the popcorn and all that. I'm liking this a lot more.
Well, you know what? You brought up something before I forgot to cover. It's a very cool conversation, because you were like, well, do they have the budget for that? Do they have the budget for this? Here's what I think. I think the climate's changing. So what was the last movies we saw? We saw Spider-Man in theaters. It's like, I got to go to theaters to see that. So okay? But it's like, well, it's here on my TV. So what's $5 a month compared to $20 every 4 months? And what's the climate of movie theaters now? And you have your 4K TV in your own house. Even Corona aside, it's just like, if Spider-Man would have came out on Disney Plus, I would have just watched it on my TV. I'll give you the best example. Matrix 4 was like, it was out in theaters. You'll be both watching HBO Max. It's like, it's right here, right in front of me.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm paying my subscription.
We got spoiled. Yeah, we were so used to being able, it's a big deal. We talked about it with Spider-Man. Like you do a bathroom break, you come back and you missed a key plot point.
Yeah.
And some of these movies are 3 hours long. That's insane. I mean, you gotta go. You need a break. And sometimes like me and the kid will watch movies. We'll just take breaks.
Yeah.
I mean, there's something to say for momentum, so I don't like doing that.
Yeah.
But sometimes it gets to like a slow thing. I'm like, okay, you know what? This is a good stopping point here. Let's take a break and come back to it. We just like kind of treat them like a show.
But at least you could pause it. There's somebody talking in front of you and things like that. It's like, you got 4K. Yeah. The projector is not 4K.
Is a big, the 4K is a big deal. Oh man, the show looked fantastic. It's cool. We got the same TV too, and I put it in that dynamic mode, like you said. And oh my god, the picture on that when they showed the where they were doing the training, they showed the grass in that scene where you see them up on the hill. Oh my God, the picture was gorgeous. And the TVs, they're getting so cheap now. Like, I'm going to upgrade my TV in my living room, and I'm not going to get any bigger than I have. You know, usually it's always, keep getting bigger, get bigger. But it's like, no, that's any bigger than this. I'm turning my head every time, you know, the scene changes or something happens on the screen. So I don't need any bigger. I don't need any louder. I got a nice sound system. I'm good to go.
I'll make it even easier for you. When you came up with your kid and I had my kid and we're like, hey, let's go out see Spider-Man. Had it been on Disney Plus, like,
would it been Disney Plus?
Yeah, we could have sat there. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Would have done Disney. Would have tried to get the kids to watch it with us if they weren't into it.
And if they didn't watch it,
give them the boot.
Go watch SpongeBob. Me and Uncle Bobby are watching it. It's like, you know, that's the beauty of it. And we're basically watching Star Wars movies that are in a higher quality than the original movies were made. You know what I mean? Like, they're downgrading to make it look like the biggest stumble they have right now is like, we got to make this look like the 70s for people to like it.
Yeah.
That's the easiest.
How do we make this Muppet not look like a Muppet, but still not anger the old guys like me and you that want to see the Muppets?
Yeah. Well, they had Yoda doing CGI backflips. I could tell from the scene. Somebody had this Yoda, the Grogu puppet, in front of a blue screen for the hops. And I was like, I'm down. Works for me. It was so good.
Yep.
Yeah, well, like I said, Bob, next week's the big showdown. So I'm psyched. I'm predicting an hour-long episode or something to that effect. But I think this next episode is going to blow everybody away. Because this last episode blew everybody away. So I think we're good for a treat
next week,
here.
Or are they doing a break?
No, it's next week. Next week's the finale.
Nice.
Yeah, so we'll see the closing of the Book of Boba Fett. And, of course, me and Bob will be there. So, Bob, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, buddy. Anytime.
And we'll see you guys next week.